Hi, friends. It's Leah Carey from the Good Girls Talk About Sex podcast, and we're back with another COVID Confidential behind closed doors. Before we get started, I want to remind you that if this quarantine is exacerbating issues in your relationship around touch, communication, sex, or if you're solo and experiencing a lot of touch hunger, I'm here to listen. There's information at the end of this video about my quarantine coaching packages. Today, we're going to meet Paige. She is sheltering in place with her boyfriend in a studio apartment, and he is an ER nurse. I'm going to talk with her about how much both of us are missing platonic touch. That's the hugs and touch that we get from our friends who we don't currently get to see. Let's get started.
So I live in a studio apartment above a garage. So it's a very small space, and I've lived here with my boyfriend Scott for 3 years.
Okay, so
And
you've been living together for a while,
yes,
which presumably means that you know you can live together pretty well. How has that been affected by this lockdown? Are the two of you quarantining, or sort of what's your space use?
I haven't been going to a place of work. And he's actually an ER nurse at the hospital here in Moab, Utah, where we live. And so he's had a fairly regular schedule, and he works nights and days. So his shifts are all over the place. So our living situation hasn't changed a whole lot, and his work schedule hasn't. So it's still, I think the saving grace is that we still have enough space from each other. We have a good balance between having enough space from each other and getting to spend time together fairly regularly.
And I know you said you're out on your back porch. It looks like you have a fair amount of outdoor space that you can occupy too.
Yes, which has been so wonderful. I'm so lucky to live in a landscape like this. There's actually a canyon that I can walk to from my house with a creek running through it, and wildflowers and animals, and that's been really, really, really wonderful. I'm super grateful for that.
So you said your boyfriend is an ER nurse. What has that done to both of your stress levels?
Interestingly enough, it's been easier time to be a nurse for him here. That is not at all indicative of like the widespread nursing situation right now, but because we live in such a rural area and there haven't been too many confirmed cases in our county, they've taken a lot of steps to make sure that people who are symptomatic don't come right into the hospital. And people know that unless they're seriously injured or ill, not to come to the hospital, to call first, to get it sorted out before entering the actual hospital. It's been less stressful for him with his work specifically.
Yeah. In terms of getting your touch needs met, you've said that this hasn't significantly changed how you and your boyfriend live together. Are you still getting the same amount of touch that you are used to?
Yeah, so this is interesting because I haven't had any change or noticed any real difference in my romantic touch needs or just my romantic needs. But what I really miss is platonic touch and friendly touch. And I don't think I realized before this how much I touch the people that I love, but as my platonic friendships are really important to me, and there's a lot of touch with those. And I really miss that. Within the first week I was like, oh my God, hugs, where are they? Help me. And I think my partner is wonderful, and we have a really good relationship, and we're very like physical. We touch each other a lot, but it's a different, it's a it's a different like grouping of touch. It's a different type, it's a different relationship. And so it's a different type of loneliness, I think, that comes from that loss of platonic touch.
Absolutely. A friend of mine had a birthday last week, and so I put together a little care package, and I took it and put it on her porch, and she was inside the living room, and I was looking at her through the door, and it was painful to walk
Yeah.
away and not give her a hug.
It's been physically painful for me
Yeah.
too. That sense of like that longing of like I just want to, yeah, hug you, or even just touch their head or like
Yeah.
shoulders, like just anything to that physical connection and grounding in like a
Hmm.
moment is missing, and it just feels so strange without that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do feel super lucky to have to, first of all, to live where I live and be able to get outside uh, when I need to, which is a lot, and also to have a loving partner. And you know, we live in a really small space, but we're still doing okay.
Hmm.
That's I feel really grateful for that. And you know, all of the other relationships in my life feel like they have these sort of gaping, like there's this big elephant
Yeah.
in the room. And I do see folks, you know, will go to a park and have like social isolated like park hangouts with a couple of
Hmm.
friends or something. um, but every time it's like there's something missing.
Yeah.
There's definitely something missing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's change our focus just a little bit and talk about, has your relationship or your habits with food changed and
Mm.
with exercise changed during this experience?
That's a really good question. I've actually been thinking about that a lot. They haven't as much as I thought they would,
Mm,
um, which is a little surprising because I am someone who has experienced decades of eating disorders and
mm,
disordered eating and disordered exercise, overexercise, for a very long time. And I think that I've been out of that pattern for long enough that it doesn't feel, I definitely notice that I go back into disordered eating and overexercise when I feel out of control.
mhm.
That's just, that's always how that goes. I think I've felt safe enough here and in my daily routine that it hasn't come up a ton. It's usually when I'm away from like, it's usually when I can't create my own schedule or can't create my own routine.
So this is a different kind of stress.
There's anxiety for sure. I experience like it's just a constant emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said for being in my home and having a semblance of routine and some form of like knowing that I can go outside, for example. That's
Hmm.
huge. And knowing that I'm not on a strict, and I'm not on anyone else's schedule. So
Yeah.
it makes me feel in control enough.
Yeah. Well, Paige, thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you, Leah. I appreciate what you're doing.
If this video has been helpful for you, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment about how you're handling the quarantine. And if you're struggling with this lockdown, I want you to know that I'm here to listen. Go to the link on the screen to get information about my quarantine coaching special. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you again soon.